Hello, happy Friday. I hope you had a wonderful week. We're going to do some crafting today as per usual. Let's go straight to the desk. I'm going to show you everything I've made with the September kit so far because September is chugging along. Let's see what we got. We have made 2 4x6 portrait photos on this one with lots and lots of florals. Each one of these has a live stream that you can find in the September playlist. Disco ball paper with 2 3x4 photos. Then some stripes on stripes with 2 3x4 photos again. Nice easy composition that you can replicate with lots of different papers and just carry on using different things. It'll look different every time. 3 photos on this one. I still need to take all the backings off this. So this is not the stickers being wonky. This is the stickers not being stuck. Journaling to go up in here, I believe. And that's with some Vicky B papers. This is all actually the same paper, just torn apart and put back together. And this was our last one, which has pages, floral that goes across the diagonal. Really enjoyed doing that, and it doesn't take long at all. Okay, so that's what we've done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far. So today is going to be 6, and I have got 2 4x5 portraits, which you voted on. Well, some of you did. So this week, WB and I went to see the new production of Starlight Express, and I had the first time in what seems like ages, I had a good opportunity to do some themed dressing. So I went to Starlight Express dressed in my star printed dress, and then I need to keep up with I can't keep up, but I can attempt to keep up with Mr. Stylish here, who is still on the year 6 style quest to have cool outfits every day. And this one involved skinny turned up jeans with Mickey Mouse high tops and a Mickey Mouse t-shirt, and the Jack Skellington tuxedo jacket is back in rotation. So we've got these 2. Now, this is a 4x5 ratio. I just fancied doing something a little different than all the 4x6s and 3x4s. So I crop it to a 4x5 ratio, and then I print it on a 4x6 using white borders. That's how I get to this size. So it's actually, the print itself is slightly narrower than 4 inches because it's 4 inches with the white edge. All right. So we are going to use those 2 along with the supplies for this month. And I feel like this is the first time that I can crack out the autumnal part of the September kit. Now, not the Halloween stuff, but I feel like the photos now suddenly look like autumn is here. And so I have that autumnal sticker sheet. So I can pull this in today. Let's bring in some of the olive green and the orange, I believe. And let's see what else from the kit is going to work well with it. Now, remember, this is the Halloween stuff that I added, but the B-sides here are not as hugely spooky. So we could pull in a B-side here or there. Oh, we could use, the tags are not double-sided. It's a black and white on the other side. Okay. So you can't actually journal on these tags, but could use them to cut apart. All right. So that was the Halloween-y section. And then we have quite a lot of this orange diagonal, which I think is definitely part of today's page. Oh, stay there, please. Okay. We do have some yellow in here. And of course, we've got the black, white, yellow papers, which I haven't really used much of at all yet. And they're going to work with those colors. So let's pull all three of those so we know what we have to start with. We've also got wood grain, which feels very autumnal. We have hearts, which could totally work here. But again, I've got another idea for this, so I'm holding it back. And then we do have this brightly colored version, but I don't think that's our paper for today. So these two are out, but the wood grain and the yellow have some potential there. Just gonna put these to the side. They want to fall over. That's okay. So we've got all of these bits and pieces to work with today and see what sort of autumnal look we can come up with. Fair enough? Right. What can I do to make this not want to fall over? Okay, we're good, we're good. Yes, so in terms of, you voted on these pictures. So we went to see Starlight Express, and that meant I also had pictures from the show, and I got some really good ones. I was quite happy with what I got. You're allowed to take pictures and videos during the bows and the mega mix that they perform at the end. And we had tickets that were right to the side. It's on a thrust stage, and the racetrack goes right through the audience. So how can I illustrate? Here's the stage. Audience are like this, plus a massive section up here because there's a racetrack that goes here. There's also track coming out like this. And we were right over here. So we're right on the side, so I couldn't see like the front when they sing right to the edge of the stage and they sing out to this big crowd over here. We couldn't see them, but the trade-off is you are so close here that you can see all these tiny things that are happening on stage that you couldn't see from up there. We could see what's written on the trains and on the costumes and all sorts of things like that. Anyway, they don't bow to the side, except at the end they kind of circle up and bow in a circle. So I got some good shots there, and I had a great shot of, there's a big ramp here at the back of the stage. So some of the solo bows include like a trick on the ramp, and I got some nice photos there. Anyway, I posted all of those on Instagram stories and said, what do you want to see? Do you want me to scrapbook these, or do you want me to scrapbook the roller skaters on Friday? And almost everybody voted for this. So here we go. Right, let me do my speech and let's scrapbook. Hello, my name is Shimelle. I teach online scrapbooking classes, design scrapbooking products, and help you use them to tell your stories in a creative way. It's not just my hobby, it is my job, and that means anytime I scrapbook on the internet, it's considered advertising, and legally I need to make sure you're aware of that. So thank you for coming to watch my #advertising. I appreciate you being here, whether you are live, chatty, watch from Tomorrowland, quiet, craft, don't craft, think about coming back to craft, all of those things. You're all good in my book. If you need links to the stuff that I use, the stuff that I talk about, you're going to find it in the description box with this video. So the supplies I'm using right now, that's the September kit or shopping list, whatever you want to call it. And then next month is already there. So you can get the supplies gathered either by shopping or from getting things that are similar that you already have in your stash and putting them together. That's the October list. So both of those are linked, and I scrapbook live twice a week. So if you want to follow along with me for a whole month and be really productive and create lots of pages, you can do that. I'd love for you to. You'll also find links to my own collection. So right now I have a brand new one called Reasons to Smile. And I have a slightly older one called Main Character Energy, and those are both available through shopping links. You can get them at scrapbook.com. You can get them at Cherry on Top. They're both linked there. And then you can also find bits and pieces from both of those lines at selected Joanne and Michael stores for those of you who are in the US. So that's pretty fancy. Yes, you'll also find links to where you can find me on Instagram or where you can take my classes. And I'd love to see you there too. So it's all good. Anything else, just ask me in the comments the questions and see what I can do to help you. Right, that's enough of my face. Let's scrapbook. Oh, my voice is crackly this morning. Right, don't worry, I have coffee. It's all good. Okay, where have I put my sketch pad? I did so many videos this week that I'm beginning to go loopy. Yesterday, my husband's on his way out to work. The Adhesive Avenger says, oh, by the way, could you do this thing today, by the way? Just a normal household thing. And normally I would have been like, yeah, sure, that's no problem. But I'd already booked to do a live stream in the morning and a live stream in the afternoon. And my head has trouble doing 2 videos in one day. I've learned this along the way that my brain likes to do 1 video one day. And so I knew I already had to like be right on top of myself to do 2 videos in one day. And I did 2 days like that where I did 2 videos. And it was all fine. But in the back of my head the entire day, I was like, but I've also promised to do that thing. I've also promised to do that thing. And I got myself in quite a panic at like 2:45, being like looking at the time that I needed to get the small person collected and all of this. I'm like, I've got to get it done. And I would love to hear when you have that moment in your head where it goes, I've got to get it done. Does that make your brain actually do things faster? Or does it make your brain go, nope, we're not going to do anything right now. We are totally overwhelmed. Oh my goodness. I would love to know. Oh, Jean watched yesterday's videos. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed. Okay, I had drawn out a little sketch, computery wise. Can I bring it up or do I have to remember from my brain? Let's find out. Let's see if my computer will let me open this many windows all at once today. We'll find out. I had saved it here so I could bring it up. I struggle sometimes with you do something on one device and you make it go to the other. So that's what I'm doing right now. Oh, and it's giving me a million pop-ups because I've never done this app to this device. Oh my goodness. Okay. It's working now, I think. Let's see. Oh my goodness. All right. Cross my fingers. Did I type in the right password? Ooh, I did! First time. Here's my sketch. Amazing. So now I can sketch it out. Yay! I don't have to remember it all from my brain because I've just looked at what I drew and went, nope, my brain did not remember that. All right. So we're going to have this composition where we're going from side to side. So a bit of opposition composition, which means the trick when you start building in from the sides is can you keep something empty in the middle? Yeah. So I want I want a gathering of embellishment here. So I'm just going to mark this as some stars. Okay. But it doesn't have to be stars. If you're new to me, I just draw stars as embellishments quite often. And some strips of pattern paper down this side. Okay. So we've got some sort of paper plus a gathering of embellishment up here at the top on this side. The photos are going to go to this side. And there's going to be this diagonal line. So I've swapped my usual diagonal. Usually I diagonal that way, but today I'm diagonaling this way just to be different. Okay, so those photos are in no way to scale because they look like they're 2 different sizes. These photos are the same size. Don't worry. They're going to have some mats. Of course they are. So I draw that like this, right? But then we're going to layer behind here and we're going to include some tags. And I drew this yesterday while I was waiting for WB because Melinda, who I believe is here, gave me this challenge to say, you should do all the things that people say they don't like on one layout. So, shocker. There's going to be some tearing in here. And there's going to be some tags in here. I think there's going to be some inking too. Let's see what we can throw in. That's all the different things that make different people nervous. Okay, I know Amy's going to find it hardest because she dislikes both those things, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Joanna is letting us know that the big voice of, oh my goodness, I have to do these things, definitely leads her to total paralysis. I love it. Okay. Right. Oh, that's the wrong window. There we go. So my 2 photos over here with a little collection of tags. Don't worry, I'll give you a zoom in of this in a second. And then we're going to have kind of other layers of paper here too. But I'm going to need to be careful to keep this valley of open space. Yeah. All right. So we got some layers happening there behind. Maybe put one more down here. Yeah, so we're going to build out all these layers over here. We're going to have little strips of those papers appearing on the other side. Now, obviously, I want this embellishment to match something over here. So that's why I've stair-stepped these so that I can put similar related embellishments down here on this diagonal. And that means then along the way, I can put in a little smaller version of the same thing. We need a title that's going to fit in down here. And we need some journaling space. So maybe the journaling fits on the tags, or maybe the journaling fits in here, or maybe the journaling fits here, depending on which papers we choose for where. Then obviously there'll be some confetti, there'll be some confetti, there'll be some confetti along that diagonal. All right, so here it is. There you go. You can screen grab there if you would like. I promise this weekend I'll buy a new Sharpie. All right. Let's get us on to the right window. Amy says, I'm a member of This Year's Story. How do I watch live? So if you go over to the This Year's Story forum, so I've just wrapped up July and I started August, so there's 2 August lives there. Now I haven't published next week's schedule yet, but when we get to a live stream, you can watch it in the forum in that same thread where you would watch it on the replay. It will play live there, and you can just click through. There's live chat and stuff like that too. So the same place that you watch any of it on the replay in This Year's Story is exactly how you would watch it live. You just need to be there at the live time. And I added a little highlight button to make this nice and easy. So I've tried over the summer, I watched the watch stats and view stats and stuff for whether if I published on a Monday usually or Sunday night, the schedule for live streams of the following week, whether that actually made a difference to people turning up. Like, are people actually looking at it and going, oh, I will watch at that time? Or are you not watching unless you get a notification? And the scheduling definitely does help people go, oh, I can watch that live. So I've made on Instagram a little highlight button. So that's the little circle on an Instagram profile, right? And it will just have the most recent week of schedule there. So right now, like, we would be in the last one that's there because this is Friday. And those slides for each week include live streams here on YouTube and members' videos on This Year's Story. Does that make sense? All right. Let's trim these and we'll see what background paper will work today. Yeah. So we've got some different options. Oh, that one went narrower than I wanted. Not too bad, but that side's a little narrower than that side. Yay! Jean says notifications don't work for her even though she has them turned on. It's so hit and miss. Who knows? Whether you get I have notifications turned on for several different creators on YouTube. I get some creators, not others, even though I've gone back and checked my settings. I get them for some of their videos and not others. I think it's a really imperfect system, and they must have some sort of limit where otherwise they might be notifying you like all the time of all the things. And so they have some algorithm that says, no, we're going to notify you of this. Like recently, I have both Jennifer McGuire and Christina Warner on that setting. And recently I have had every notification for Jennifer's videos and 0 notifications for Christina's. And I have no idea why. So I went back in to check my settings. Nothing's changed. It's just what they're sending me. So yeah, notifications from YouTube are helpful, but you don't always get them. So there we go. All right, so we have these 2 photos, and we want a background that can be the base to put all this stuff on top. So we don't really want something that's super busy. Now, we could use the wood grain, and this definitely works in this scenario. But if we use the wood grain, it's going to be harder to include the black and white stuff along with the color. What can we do here? So what I want this color scheme of the yellow, I point to a different one that I'm saying, yellow, orange, and teal, plus the black and white. So the wood grain is kind of adding in another element. So I'm going to look to see just for a nice neutral. I know I could put it on white cardstock, but who do you think I am, Sarah? No. So let's have a look at other things that it could go on. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm pulling this out not because I think I'm going to use it today, but because we need to use it for something soon. I have saved this paper for ages and I think never pulled it out, but I still love it. I'm not going to use it today. I don't think it's, well, yeah, I don't think it's right for this layout. But I'm going to show it to you and you're going to rate it out of 10. This paper is 2008. It was one of the last collections that Making Memories did before they went bust. But can we talk about how cute that is? I love it. It won't work with this composition because I want to cover up stuff on the side. But it's got a nice diagonal to follow. It has wood grain. It has butterflies. It has rainbow things. I love it so much. And so don't let me forget that I have it. Let's do something with this soon. Okay. I'm going to put it at the top of its shelf so that I can see it and remember it's going to go there. Okay. Right, but what could we use? We could use a nice warm yellow dot. This one? Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Let me close the cover back up. All right. Sandra also has that gorgeous wood grain. Amazing. I love that I'm not the only person who has said it. Okay. While we're talking about, I know we've just changed subjects. While I go back to talking about the posting the schedule for the week, if I post it, I can't post it on Friday, Saturday, because that's when we tend to get announcements of things that happen in the next week, and then I have to change the schedule. So I know better than to determine my next week on a Friday or Saturday, because that's when WB will get a call and I'll have to be rearranging everything. But I don't get those calls on Sunday. So is there a big difference in your life if I post it, say, Sunday lunchtime UK versus Sunday evening UK? Because I can see myself having time to sit down and do that either way. And I can just work it into my schedule that's part of my routine. So would love to hear what you think there, if one or the other makes a difference for you, and then I'll try to get into a pattern of always setting it at the same time, because Sunday lunchtime and Sunday evening, I'm not in the same places, but I'm in the same place every week at both of those times. And they're both places it would be appropriate for me to have my phone out and do an Instagram post. And by the way, the reason I don't put them all up on YouTube right now is because I have to bring more gear. I don't know why they do it this way, but if you schedule a YouTube video using a different device, then when you go to broadcast, it'll be like, no, I don't see you. So I have to do it from the same device, which is weird. Okay. Down Under crew would prefer Sunday lunchtime because then you can work it into your schedule. That's before you would go to bed Sunday night. Cool. All right, so we're going to have this kind of structure over here. We want stripes down the side, but I feel like I should choose what's going to be in my layers here and then choose from those to go over to the side. So I'm definitely bringing in this orange, and I can have a nice big box of this. I like big boxes, and I cannot lie. Oh, update on October shopping list. Because my October order has arrived now. The exclusive scrapbook.com Reasons to Smile stickers, they are no more. So if you are shopping elsewhere or you didn't get them or whatever, there is still a Reasons to Smile normal sticker book. It's not identical, but it's very similar. So I would say you can still use that for sure. Okie dokie. All right, so we're going to have a box like this. Oh, and WB's come up and swapped the trimmers again. So there are two of these. One of them has a blade that's dead. And we'd moved them, and now I've got the dead one back. So he clearly came up to do his homework and went, oh, I don't like this, and swapped them without telling me. It cracks me up. All right. It's all right. This is why I mostly cut things by hand. So we've got a box of that, and that means we can have a strip of this on the side. I'm just going to take the branding strip off. I do not need to cut this because I'm going to tear it. Actually, I'm going to tear this way because I make it this way better. Okay, so I've got some orange to go over there. Now let's have a look at these papers here. So I think we do a whole line of these down the right-hand edge. Why did I just do the same thing? I might have gone too wide at the top. Let's see. So we've got that. Oh, I like that torn, actually. Are my music notes the right way up? Yeah, we're good. Okay. Oh, the music notes reminds me. We've just started in on evaluating where WB sits in music theory, because in this country we do graded music stuff, and you can do like your first 5 grades just on your instrument or singing or whatever. But then to go past that, to do grade 6, you have to take theory as well. And you have to have your theory in line I'm looking at where he is now because he's doing grade 5 singing. So I'm looking at, he has to do his grade 6 theory to be able to do the next exam after that for singing. It has stuff I didn't do to get a degree in music. He's 10. So anyway, that's fun, but we're starting at the beginning. It's all good. And it's hilarious because, did you know? Oh, and we've got the Australians here. I'm going to get your answers. Okay, Australia, what are the names of your notes? And New Zealand? Because I grew up in the States, so I grew up with quarter note, half note, eighth note, whole note. But we don't have that here. Music here is done in with names. So a quarter note is a crotchet, which is the hilarious word to be the first thing you discover over here when you start to read music and somebody says it and you're like, I'm sorry, what? Oh, Cheryl's on strike today. What you on strike with? Okay. The Down Under crew also has crotchets and quavers. Okay. So what I would call an eighth note is quaver, a minim for a half note, and a semi-breve for a whole note, which really does your head in because whole note is the same thing as semi-breve, and hello, whole and semi do not mean the same thing. It really messed my head up. And I didn't know, I know a lot of like things that we say differently in conversation, but I did not know that the musical terms would be different. And the very first day that I found this out was that I'm sitting in a singing rehearsal for the Brighton Festival Chorus, which is like a choir not attached to the university when I went, but they rehearsed at the university where I went. And I haven't inked anything yet. I need black ink. Okay. So I'm sitting in this rehearsal and the director, I've auditioned and not, nobody's noticed anything. I have not noticed that anything is different. I've had to do sight reading for them. Nothing has come up. We're in the rehearsal and the director says, can we look at the semiquavers on page 6? I'm sorry, what? Also, quavers are a crisp here. So I was so confused. And I'm just like about to hyperventilate, level panic, because I was like, you're talking in another language. I don't know. And I just tried to like pull it together to me and said to the person next to me, I said, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear him. Could you point out in the music where he wants us? Because I'm sorry, I'm lost and I don't want to get too far behind. And she just points and I'm like, okay. So whatever that is, because I did hear the words. I hadn't misheard. I just didn't know what they meant. And so I'm looking at them and making this mental thing to be like, okay, so look up when you get home, what is a semiquaver? Because I don't call that a semiquaver. I would call it 16th note. All right, so then the next thing they say is like, I guess one of the vocal parts was on crotchets while the others were on semiquavers, or they were on quarter notes while they were on 16th notes. And I'm just listening, and I suddenly felt like I had turned on dubbing on a TV show and I was watching it in another language without subtitles, because I could understand sort of, but also so I was so near and so far all at the same time. It was bonkers. So then I went home because we didn't have smartphones then and Googled to figure out what on earth was going on. And it turned out that we just have different words for it. So there we go. Sophia says that is wild to her. I honestly assumed these were standard across Europe and would thus have transferred over to the U.S. with the first settlers. Mind blown. Caroline was taught that in the U.S. they tried to simplify European words because the European words were considered poncy and monarchical. So it sounds like it's part of that. Yeah. And so, Sharon's mother was born and raised in London, very musical, and she never heard her say anything other than whole, half, quarter, etc. So yeah, it's a really wild transition to make. So yeah, it was just so weird. So anyway, I've actually taught music to GCSE level here, which is the exam you take when you're 16. Because when I first started teaching, our school was like, "What can you teach?" And I'm like, "Well, English and drama and music. I guess I could probably stretch to music." Even though I'd done music performance, not music pedagogy. So I had not learned to be a music teacher, but they were desperate for help. And then I even ended up finishing somebody's GCSE dance course because they weren't offering new kids to sign up for GCSE dance as an option, like an elective, Americans. But the teacher had left and they didn't have anybody else. So they just handed me the syllabus. I'm like 21. There you go figure it out. And I'm like, okay, because without talking about GCSE, at one point they said, "Have you ever taught dance?" And I was like, well, yeah. Do you know what dance I'd taught? I had coached a cheerleading squad, and I had taught ballet at the YMCA. Little kids, tiny little kids, not somebody getting their exam qualifications. But I'm one of those people who just goes, "Yep, I'll figure it out." And I went and figured it out. Okay, so we're putting big block of this over to this side. I picked this one so that I could have the two because there's two of us, but I'm not sure that you're going to see it. It's okay. Jen was taught that a quaver was a quarter note. No, a crotchet is a quarter note. Quaver is an eighth note. But yeah, so it's super fun to teach in music theory now because, one, you either have to go hire a tutor for that. They don't learn it at school or anything, or do it yourself. So we're doing it ourselves for as long as possible. I have to translate it in my head every time. And when I was teaching music GCSE, I had to translate it in my head every time because I just wanted to call it what I've always called it, because those are those sorts of things that, like, when you're looking at music, eventually you don't think the name of the note anymore, right? You're just going 1, 2, 3, and a 4, and 5. Yeah. So you don't think quarter, 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 or crotchet, 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 but you still have to know those things for the exam. And so, yeah, it was really, I don't know why, but it's so ingrained in my head that I have to actively think to say the right thing because I look at it and want to say quarter note. Yeah. Also, okay, the bit that I never understood, and I was always thankful that a student hadn't asked, but WB is going to ask it at some point. Those of you who did always learn with the words, not the fractions, then when we talk about time signatures, I promise that for those of you who don't do music, I will get off this subject in just a second. This is my last question about it, I promise, because I'm going to go nerdy now, and the people who don't read music will be like, what is she on about? Okay, time signatures. There's a number on the top, there's a number on the bottom, right? So if we're in 4/4 time, we're in 6/8 time, whatever. This is where it makes way more sense in the American words. Top note, how many notes in the bar? Bottom note, what note gets the beat? So if we're in 4/4, 4 beats per measure, quarter note gets the beat because quarter, 1/4, that's a 4, yes? If we're in 6/8, there are 6 beats to the measure, and the 8th note gets the beat. So do you just have to learn that all by rote, that an 8 is a quaver? And the quaver gets the beat because it says 8? Because that bit is way easier when you've got fractions. I'm just saying. Because the fraction matches. All right, Jen is finishing us off by saying she was told that a 30-second note is a hemi-demi-semi-quiver. I love it. A hemi-demi-semi-quaver. I don't know if it's accurate, but I'm believing it. Because a 16th note is a semi-quaver. So a 30-second, I'm not sure about the hemi-demi. I think maybe just one of those. A demi-semi-quaver adds up to me to be a 30-second note. But also, since I grew up a violinist, I hate those. Is there any instrument that actually likes them? Or is that one of those personality type things where you suddenly realize that you're a sociopath because you like 30-second notes? All right, back to other topics other than sheet music. I'm sorry, Rebecca. Okay, thank you for indulging today's first side quest. Music theory. So yeah, sometime I'll bring you the list of what he has to learn because it's crazy and I don't know. It's just wild because I had to do music theory all the way through the end of my degree. And I mean, there was some of it where I was like, oh my goodness, I would like to just curl up and die now because I don't understand. Yeah, it was, I think actually the, my hardest theory class was probably the hardest class I took in my entire degree. I really do think it was. I'm trying to figure out where this is going to go. Because if I cover this up, then it's pointless to have used all the boxes. But I didn't need as big a box of this as I thought. Okay. So I haven't actually stuck these now. They're both sticky, but not stuck. That's what we're going with. But I have my strips ready to go over here. I'm using different adhesive today because I ran out and I didn't realize that I was out of refills. So I'm in a panic now because obviously they don't sell scrapbook.com adhesive refills in this country. I did not plan ahead accordingly. This is the emergency adhesive that I had in my drawer, but I do really like that adhesive. It's just you have to import it from Japan, so it's not always practical or affordable. So basically, I use 2 glues that are imported. Oh. Okay. This all started because of you. This whole side quest. It's right here. This little bit of sheet music, which I can tell you is a crochet plus 1, 2, 3, 4 quavers. So we're in 1, 2, 3. We're in 3, 4. Yes. There we go. You said you were going to stop talking about music, Shimelle. Okay. All right. Next. Okay. So I wanted to bring in the turquoise too, and I haven't done that yet. So I need a turquoise paper. Also, I'm just realizing we could bring in, is it too bright? Could it work? Because the colors are right, except it also has pink. Let's try it. And 1, 2, what's a different size here? This one. 3. Okay, what have I got that's turquoise? Strangely enough, not a turquoise paper in this kit. What? I do have a turquoise tag from the Halloween cut apart. This is way more tags than I will use for my Halloween scrapping, so that's why I don't mind cutting into this. But if you could use a whole sheet, then by all means, save it for Halloween. Okay. All right, what will our next side quest be today? I can tell you about the updates to Starlight Express. I love this new production. I didn't prepare myself to love it, but I do. There's one bit that I was like, that's a bit heavy-handed, but everything else I loved. Yeah. Oh, except the commute. It's at the Troubadour, which is out by Wembley. So for those, oh, we're frozen? We're not frozen here. Susan, you won't hear me if you're frozen. Go out and come back in. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Jean. Just refresh the page. Because we're not frozen here. Okay, so I'm going to cut out 3 of these circles. Yeah, so for those of you who know London geography, we live this corner of London and the theater is that corner of London, where the West End is in the middle. So everybody just goes out from where they are into the middle. But this one we have to go out and come back. We have to go in and come back out the other side. Do, 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 do. Beatrix enjoys the music of Starlight Express. So they've added a new train who has a new song. They've cut some songs. Always a difficult choice. I had only ever seen Starlight Express in Vegas in the 90s. So Starlight Express was still running in London when I first moved here, but it was when I was a poor student, so I didn't go to any shows, pretty much. So I had never seen the London production. For those of you who have been here, Starlight Express used to be in the theater where Wicked is now. It closed in 2002. Okay, so I watched the 90s version in Vegas, which was a 90-minute production with no interval because, surprise, surprise, in Vegas, they want you to get out of the theater and back into the casino. So I'm not sure which songs they had cut then because I had obviously seen a different kind of scenario. Let's ink this one. I need to get some other tags working in here too. You're just not going to see the house. Yeah. I don't mind if the star shows. That would be okay. Okay. So let's see. I think actually now that they're not so bright that these really could work. Okay, so let's bring what colors? Let me just grab a turquoise from Reasons to Smile in order to have something to mat with. I just need a basic turquoise, don't need anything fancy. Okay, so I know I'm going outside the kit again, but not for anything fancy. You could use any old turquoise small pattern that you've got. So there's one in next month's kit, which is the diagonal stripe. And that's this one. I'm also just going to pull out, show you. That this also exists. There's one in Main Character Energy as well, in the 6x8. And I think I only have the one of these that's for next month's kit, so I'm going to use the other one because I have extra. I probably have one of these that is open, but I'm going to use this one today. Right. Where is that turquoise dot? And we will compare the two turquoises. Oh, it is a little different than Pages. And versus, oh, the tonal there, you can see it's, we're pretty interchangeable here. This one is slightly more green, but only because the dot here is the light blue. We're good. We're good. Okay, so let's use this to mat here. I'm not liking this width of that one, so let's just bring it down a little bit more. Okay. Right, right. Oh my goodness, what is so loud? Putting the shopping away. All right, so let's start figuring this out. If I keep the whole 2 by 3 here, and I could cut this down to be smaller. Let's do that. See you later, Sophia. Okay. Now, what else have we got in terms of tags? I've got that Vicky cut apart this month, haven't I? So let's see. Yeah, you're not going to see the 2. Okay, I'm going to come out like this somewhere. Okay. This one is going to go behind there. I'm actually going to go ahead and stick that to there. And this to here because I'm liking this balance. But then these 3, in theory, are not sticking to the background just yet. Okay. This kind of happening up here. This needs more behind it. More! So we had a yellow 3 by 4 here. I could turn this one into one of the tag spots. Could even make it a tag shape. So to do that, I'm going to line up this tag, which I realize is stuck to everything else, to get the same angle on the corners, even though this piece is going to be wider. Okay. Ink this and punch a hole in it. And we have turned a 3 by 4 card into a tag. Deidre says, why don't you cut out the square with the 2 and swap it with the bicycle? I'll have a look to see if that is a possibility. Then that is going to go there, which is why I hadn't done any moving around of that block because I think I'm just about to cover up the bicycle. Yeah. Okay, but there's nowhere near enough orange happening. We need more orange. More orange. Yeah. That didn't work. Where's the adhesive on there? Sorry, Deidre, I wasn't trying to be obnoxious, but I have just messed up that plan. Okay. Getting there now. Now, I haven't added a turquoise into this, and it would be nice, but that's what I've got there. And I don't like that with this. No. Okay. Just keep the pie charts just as pie charts without any background, without cutting them into a row or anything. Okay, so I'm going to need some more of them though. More pie charts. So we've got one. This one can go off the edge, so we'll have 2, 3 for over here. And then I need 2 really in here. Oh! Jean says, enjoy the ride works for where we were going. And yeah, just as a sentiment, yeah, we can do that. And then a partial one, I think, to tuck underneath here. Let's have this one. And we can do a little partial one if we decide we want a third one in the middle here. Okay, let me cut all these, but also my sharpener here because my scissors are getting a bit, cut too many stickers at the moment, so my scissors are getting a bit claggy. Sharpen them back up. Oh, such a difference. Which side did I do? I did that one. Let me do this one. Susan saw Starlight Express in Melbourne in the 90s. Amazing. It is a wild show. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, it involves all the adult performers are on roller skates because they're playing trains. And the whole plot is that the trains are the dream of a small child. So Starlight Express is like the lullaby to send the kid to sleep. And the kid then dreams of the trains all racing. Yep. Right. Joanna says, is there a method to your layering? I've tried following your process, but it just doesn't quite work. The method that you need is practice. Okay. Now, I do have a whole class on layering. So that's my method. If you want to learn it bit by bit, that's where I would go. So my biggest principles for layering, you need to have a lot of things that overlap. So if it bothers you to cover stuff up, this is not the technique for you. For example, I started with the 2. The 2 is gone. I have to just let it go. Let it go. Yeah. You have to be able to cover things up. You need pieces to be different sizes. This turquoise mat is narrower than this orange mat. This tag is smaller than that tag. This tag is also more visible than that tag. So this torn piece is bigger than that torn piece. You need to have different sizes, not everything the same. Anytime you make everything the same, it ends up very formal. It's the paper equivalent of marching because everything is uniform. So Joanna says she's taken the class. So I would say, don't be afraid to revisit, to go through bit by bit. Those are some big ones. You need to vary shapes as well. So that's why I'm throwing in circles here. But these could also be stars or hearts or flowers. But making them rectangles would probably not be great because I've got a lot of rectangles happening already. And I'm wanting those to feel different than all of these layers built together. So we need to do something that's different. So in this case, they're also going to include a color that doesn't happen anywhere else on the layout. So that will also bring them together. Shades of color can really help you with your layering. So I have multiple shades of yellow going on here. A really pale one in the background, plus the medium one in the circle, plus this more saturated one. My orange is a tonal, so I have 2 colors of orange going on here. I've got a monochrome with lots of different shades of gray. Yeah, even this polka dot with the turquoise is tonal. So you've got layers of color already there in the patterns that you're choosing. Most of my patterns are really small. Only the big patterns have big pieces. Yeah. So there's a lot to unpack there. But it's not a case of there being a method in as much as every time I do it, I follow the same steps. It's not that. It's going to be a case of following some steps to be able to kind of practice that and then varying it up each time. So my layering didn't look like this when I very first started. And I taught a class, in-person class years ago, maybe, must have been 2007-ish, 2008. And I remember looking at it and thinking, wow, this is a lot of layers to get on to a page in a class time in person. And if I showed it to you today, you would say, where's the rest of the layout? Because it was really bare compared to how much I layer up now. It's very different when I can show you at my own desk at my own pace rather than trying to actively get everybody in the room to make the same project. Okay, so we're going to end up with something like this. Remember, I want a clear gap here. Okay, title needing to work in down here, and I still have my autumnal stuff that I'm going to add in here. And remember, this isn't actually stuck down. I'd like one more layer behind there, but I don't want to lose the color that I have so far, so I'm going to add in a layer of vellum. But I am liking the placement of these circles, and I don't want to lose them, so I'm going to stick them down now. That one was here. That one there. It's interesting that you say the way I work is organic, because yesterday, Melinda was the only person on a live stream that I did at a crazy hour for me. I've never done that time of day before. So she was the only one here for a little bit, and she was able to control the situation. And she made a request that I do a video where I make the layout without the photos. And then I can add pictures to it at the end, or, because that's her process when she watches people scrapbook in classes or online or whatever. She's just following along with the project, and then she has to work out how to make it work with her photos later. And so I'm going to do one of those soon, and then it will be less organic to the photos. It will be organic to the supplies that I put on the desk, and then I'll have to make the pictures work with it later. But start with fewer layers. Keep building up, because you'll get more confident with it as you go. Right, a bit of vellum to go behind there. Oh, vellum probably counts as something that some people don't like too. See, Melinda getting to make all these choices. That's what happens if you show up to a live stream at a crazy hour. Joanna says, I can't do making the page without the photos because I need the photos to help me choose the colors. Yeah. But I think it's a good exercise to do once. And I can show you, because I used to, when I taught in person, I had to do this all the time because a lot of people would come without any photos. So it was interesting because I would almost always tell people what kind of photos to bring, but lots of people would not bring any, even if I gave instructions. Or I love the overcompensators. Some people would bring a pack of 200 photos. Oh, Melinda says you have to have no journaling and you wouldn't like that. Okay, no. So even if I'm designing a page where I don't know where the photos are, I would still design in the space for the journaling. I would just be adding the journaling when I add the pictures. So don't worry. That's okay. Because it's still going to be there. Right. Glue, glue, glue. Something's wobbly in here. There we go. I'm just sticking to the vellum and then that where I want it to go. Yeah. Oh, Melinda's. Oh, sorry, Melinda. I totally misunderstood. She says, I have to have no journaling because that's what I wouldn't like. No, I'm not doing that. I can do things that other people wouldn't like, but I'm not leaving journaling off. That's a deal breaker. You can do it that way if you want, but not me. It has absolutely no value to me if there's no writing. I would be like, why on earth did we take these pictures? And I tell you what, if I didn't add any journaling, when I go through my albums, and I often go through and find, pages where I'm like, oh, I don't really need to keep that layout. It doesn't speak to me. This would be, a page with no journaling would be an instant. Nope, off it goes. If I can't think of something to write and tell something, no, it would just go. Yep. I'm that brutal because I've made so many pages that if it doesn't speak to me, if it doesn't hold value, I'm not gonna leave it in the album. I don't have space. So there we go. All right. Still want like small tag in here. And I mean, to be honest, I haven't given myself the spaces to write that I had planned. There are boundaries that can't be crossed, says Jean. That's right. Me and journaling. It's a boundary that can't be crossed. Okay, we need a title. Where are my letter stickers here? And then we're going to work in the autumnal photo. Oh, not photos, stickers. Yeah. Where's everything? Here we are. So we do have like this. I wish those were two separate pieces. I wish the autumn was a different piece than in the air. I might make it be two different pieces by the end of September. Oh, Susan, don't feel bad. Susan says she never understood Starlight Express. Thanks for the explanation now when she saw it in the 90s. Oh my goodness. The best explanation of Starlight Express I've ever seen is it's like Cats, but with trains, because there's a similar level of explanation. But I will say the current production actually makes it make more sense because the little kid who's dreaming is now a character who's on stage. It used to just be a voice. It makes way more sense with Control, the kid, being in the show, because Control is controlling the trains and telling them to stop doing this and start doing this. And we see Control get put to bed by his mother or her mother. It's boys and girls both play Control on different nights. And so then it makes sense because the kid's like staying up late underneath the blanket with the trains. And just that little change. And you're like, oh, I get it now. It's not just randomly about trains in space. Oh. Space train. Yeah. All right. So we want title down here. Now I only have that little bit of pink. But I kind of want to use that pink there because then it will draw attention. I could use the turquoise. Okay, I think maybe I like the turquoise better. Let's do that. Okay, and then finding my journaling angle here. So I want to do, remember this era, and then journal about the idea that he's still like interested in this, getting dressed up to go, like dressing up together to go out and all of that sort of thing. So that's what I want to go with. Can I do it in gold or do I need to do it in cream? Prefer the gold if it's an option. THIS. Oh, I don't have any more gold E's. Okay. So let's see about it in cream then. THISERA. Okay. Let's see what it looks like in cream. Prefer it in gold, but oh well. Jean did a page today that almost didn't have photos. She added 2 tiny photos at the end and they are almost acting as embellishments. That's funny. Melinda, Disney question, is Epcot worth a whole day? Yeah? Yeah. Also, are you going just adults or with kids? Because Epcot is a very different experience with kids versus without kids. And it's a very different experience if you're without kids and would like to make a pub crawl of the World Showcase, which is a thing. It's called Drinking Around the World because there are different drinks and cocktails in every country. So that's a very different experience than going with kids. Okay, Melinda says, just her, just you on your own. Oh my goodness, you can do whatever you want. Okay, so where are you in terms of thrill seeking? Are you a thrill ride person or are you a calm ride person? And also, if you watch my channel, there is only one acceptable answer to what is the best ride, and the best ride is Living with the Land. If you skip Living with the Land, we can't be friends anymore. Because Living with the Land is not a thrill ride, but it's pure wholesomeness and wonderment, and also a great way to take a break. I love it so much, and all my friends love it so much. So there we go. It is not a thrill ride. It's a boat ride through a greenhouse. But I love it so much. Right. Plus, also, where else can you find an attraction that points out that you can grow plants in a fish tank because the fish waste can fertilize the plants? I needed that in a theme park. There we go. I love it. All right. Melinda says, calm with the occasional thrill, but mainly calm. Okay, so the reason I ask is because the biggest thrill ride at Epcot is the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. I have ridden it once, and here's why. It's a spinning roller coaster. That might be all I need to say. Now, I've ridden it once and I think it's amazing, but also my body cannot do that ride twice in one day. I had to hold onto the rail. When you get off, there's a staircase on the exit, and I was gripping that staircase because I had lost track of where the ground was. When we had the whole 4 years ago of Simone Biles getting the twisties and saying, I don't know where the land is, I was like, that's like me on a roller coaster. I could never be a gymnast. But the way they've made that ride is amazing. If you like Guardians of the Galaxy, then bonus. It's musical, which is also cool. I love, love, love the Imagineering behind it, but it does mess with my head. As Melinda is also someone who coasters are going to mess with your head. Okay, so Mission Space. It's amazing. You're going to go to space. Please, Melinda, if you are not somebody who can do thrills, do not do the harder version. Okay? So there's Mission Space Green and Mission Space Orange. You're going to take the nice, easy version and you're just going to orbit the Earth because it's going to be very calm and fun, and you get to like pretend you're an astronaut. You do need to not be claustrophobic because you're going to get in a space capsule. Okay. But you're not going to have the G-force of the other version. And I know how the G-force of the other version works. And I don't feel like I should tell you just because I feel like really loses the magic because it's not how it feels. But I'm just going to say, if you're somebody who could go, like a normal carnival fun fair, think of the kind of rides that are like extreme there, that do things like go up and down and spin and stuff like that, right? If that's not you, then just take the easy version on Mission Space and don't take the mission to Mars on Mission Space, okay? Because how it gets you to feel like you have a G-force is not by blasting you to the sky. So it's doing something else to you, and I'm going to just say you're going to lose your lunch. So take the other one because the storytelling of the ride is great. I love imagining that I'm in space. That part's super fun, but I do not need the part that's going to make me sick for the rest of the day by going to Mars. My thing with, if I'm going to feel that much G-force, I want to actually get to go to Mars. I would have signed up for it then. By all means, you're going to send me to actual space. Make me as sick as you want because the payoff is worth it. But make me walk out and I've got the rest of the theme park to make it. No, that payoff is not worth it. Okay? That's where I draw my lines. Remember? Boundaries. That's my boundary. Okay. What else are we going to put in here? We need dots and we need this. So I believe that Epcot works beautifully just going round and round. The Ratatouille ride is now at Epcot, which is a relatively recent addition, and it's been in Paris for a long time. It's a beautiful ride, beautiful Imagineering. It's a trackless rat. You're not on a roller coaster. You do have 3D glasses, but you don't know where you're going so much because it moves independently. So does Mickey's Runaway Railway in Hollywood Studios. And you are the perspective of being the size of the rat at the bottom of the kitchen. It's so sweet. It has massive, like the set is massive so that you are this tiny thing. It's adorable. So definitely go to that. That's in Paris. Also, while you're in Paris, there's a sing-along. There's a Beauty and the Beast sing-along. It's usually really quiet because it's tucked around at the back of the France Pavilion and not a lot of people know that it's there. It's air-conditioned. It has a gorgeous museum-style lobby with lots of different things from musical theater. You can go see an original costume from Jean Valjean and one from The Phantom, all in the same case, plus some cool Maleficent stuff and all of that while you wait to go in. And then you get to sing all the fun songs from Beauty and the Beast. Okay, as I say this out loud, I'm realizing that maybe this is only fun for me, but I feel like you're all in my vibe, so I'm just adopting you and taking you along for that. Okay. And this one had the turquoise mat, so I'm going to give it the orange squares at corners. This one has the orange matte, so I'm going to give it the turquoise corners. Right, so then you just keep walking your way around. So I'm a weirdo in that I like to start the World Showcase in Canada. Most people like to start the World Showcase in Mexico, which is the other side. It's a semicircle around a lake. So I like to enter the park here and go through the seas, which is Nemo and aquariums and stuff like that, and then Living with the Land, then Figment. Don't skip Figment. It's cheesy, it's silly, it's adorable, and you won't have a queue. And then go into Canada and work my way through the countries, so Canada, France, and so on. I will point out that for all of the people who say you must start in Mexico and that is the correct way to start, I will point out if you start in Canada and you end in Mexico, you go home on margaritas, which is no bad thing in my mind. I don't feel that if I get to Canada last and I'm like, oh, I must grab a drink in Canada. Sorry, Canadian friends. There we go. But I will go for food or drink in the Mexico pavilion before I leave. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's a single ride that I actually skip at Epcot. I love them all, and I love that there's lots of, wrong way, cultural bits that you can add in if you want to, because you can go to all the different countries, and all of the different like tourist videos are all sponsored by their own country, so they're very sweet. They're quite cheesy. Some of them have been around for a while and they're kind of phasing them out, but I think they're really quite lovely. And I went to the World Showcase as a kid when it was brand new and was just like, I want to travel the world. I was like Walt's marketing child going, yes, I do want to see the world now. And there you go. So I say it's all good. Frozen will have a really long queue for what is not a super epic ride. It's a log flume dark ride. It's cute, but don't do a 2-hour queue for it. I mean, it's just popular because it's Frozen, and that's in the Norway pavilion. The Mexico ride is this sponsored by the travel board video kind of ride from Mexico, but you're on a boat, and it's the 3 Caballeros, which is also funny because it's in Mexico and they're taking you through Mexico, but if you know the story of the 3 Caballeros, they're not all from Mexico, and they're from different countries in South America. But let's just put it all in Mexico. Makes sense. Why not? There's also some Coco stuff in the Mexico pavilion that's really pretty. If you ever wanted to like see more Day of the Dead stuff up close because you hadn't seen a lot of it until Coco and you were interested, they've put all of that so you can see what the offerings look like and stuff like that. Depending on where you grow up, you may or may not have seen stuff like that. So that's cool. Right. Oh, I had said olive green, but I'm not bringing in the olive green today. Just the turquoise, the orange, and then the yellow that's already here. So I'm going to go turquoise and orange from here. So we can have this one. Yeah, I think you can definitely do all of one day. It's definitely not a half-day park. Food is great, and you can snack around. Like, my favorite way to do the food in Epcot is to do little things from all different countries rather than one big sit-down meal, though that is obviously also an option. There's the Garden Grill has a character meal, which is in a spinning restaurant over Living with the Land. I have done that, and it is lovely fun too, but different than the snacky option. Cassie will tell you, do not skip the caramel stand in Germany. That was her favorite. I think I could have taken Cassie to eat there every day. Yeah. How many hearts do I have on this sticker sheet? So I have 1, 2 in turquoise, and 1 in orange. These are multicolored. Not using those today. I'm wondering, can I mix in the hearts with these 3 areas of embellishment? Kelly is with me. Eat all the snacks. Yeah, there's, if you have a super hot day in Epcot, because there's not a lot of shade in Epcot, you need to just find places to go indoors. But there are multiple countries that have iced versions of their snacks. So there's like a Japanese, oh, there's a name for it and I don't remember it. I'm sorry. Fancy shave ice kind of thing. There's, and that's in Japan. France has frosé, which is like rosé wine, but as a slush. Obviously, there are frozen margaritas. So that gives you 3 different points in the World Showcase. Then you can get frozen things. Yeah. Yeah, I love the Food and Wine Festival. That's now until Christmas. And then the Christmas version is still kind of the Food and Wine Festival. It's just Christmas themed dishes. They pretty much keep the same stands, but they give you different like Christmassy type things from each culture in theory. Melinda says, is February peak season for Disney? No, but also Florida, in terms of Walt Disney World, there's not really an off season anymore. People go year round, but February is not at all bad. And look, you might fall into Festival of the Arts if you're in February. Look at your dates. Festival of the Arts, I've never been, and I so want to. Festival of the Arts is the time I spend the most time watching live streams from Epcot, because I'll put on somebody who is live streaming an artist in the park, like live painting, and I'll just be doing something else while I watch them, like out of the corner of my eye, live painting giant murals of Mickey Mouse while people are walking by in the park. And they also have the Arts Festival also does Broadway on stage, like Disney Broadway kind of stuff. So you get lots of musical theater on the stage, which is opposite the America Pavilion. So you can go grab whatever food you want and sit down and watch somebody perform. Never a bad thing. So I did turquoise here. Let's do an orange one here. Because somehow I do this whole sheet and I only get 1 orange heart. What's that about? Simple Stories. What's that about? I'm sure we need more orange hearts. Okay. So I'm going to have to do my journaling straight onto the yellow. I don't want it to be here because I want to keep that. So maybe the date underneath here and the journaling up here, which means I don't want this to be a harsh line. I need something to tuck in here. Okay. I can do this one. Need something orange up there. Maybe I put a pumpkin with it. Is that too? Oh, here. Do a pumpkin ticket. Pumpkins. There we go. All right, enamel dots. Oh, I love that I just got to have my Disney planning head on. I would love to do some Disney planning, even if it's just kind of the window shopping type of planning where I'm not going, just gonna think about it. I like that kind too. Enamel dots have fallen down into here. There they are. Now, I have the Vicky stickers here too, just in case there's something that is speaking to me, and it is. So I'm going to add a little bit here. Melinda says, last question, is Memory Maker worth it when it's just you? Yes! Oh my goodness, do it. Now look, because if you're booking from Australia, you may get the option to add it on for not a lot of money. So if you're booking direct through the Walt Disney Travel Company. So here in the UK, if I add it on to my trip before I go, it's almost nothing, or it sometimes is nothing. It's just included in the package. Whereas if I wait until I get to the park and I add it there, it's going to be a bigger price. So the Americans pay more for it. But yes, it's just a flat fee, and then you can go to any photographer that you see in any of the parks, and you're going to get those pictures. So Memory Maker is 100% worth it for any scrapbooker. And here's the thing. Some of the photographers are not great, but you know what? You paid a flat rate. So, and you get to see them almost instantly in the app. So you get your picture taken, you walk away, you open the app and you go, oh, that wasn't good. And you go get in a line in the same place with a different photographer. You just try again. It's that simple. Take all the pictures. They'll be so much fun. And you get the files. So if you don't like the style of the lighting, you can edit them for your aesthetic. I edit all my photos so that they feel a bit more cohesive, because you're standing at different places in the parks, and different photographers have slightly different settings. And so some of them are going to come out a little over sharpened and brassy compared to something else. And so I just even it all out by editing them. But that's me being a control freak. But I love that I can do that. Yeah, pay for Memory Maker and then take all the pictures. It's also going to give you all your ride photos too. And some of those are really fun. You can Google while you're in the queue, Google where the camera is. And then you can make funny faces and stuff like that. When it was Splash Mountain, we had this ongoing thing where WB disappears because he's short. And so we would always do these poses. Once we realized where the camera was, we would do these poses that were kind of like, oh, where is he? Because we lost the child on the ride. He was there. You just couldn't see him because of the height of the seats. And yes, you get all of your photos when you meet your characters. So you can do that. Now, some of the Disney character meets now have a box that's just going to automatically take pictures at certain intervals. In that case, also hand your camera or your phone to the attendant, because I find that 50% of the time the box photos are rubbish and the attendant will take something nicer for you. 50% of the time the attendant is not a photographer and the photo from the box is going to be better. So I always take both. Cool? We need dots. Let's go all in on the orange this time. Three there. I'm going to have a lot of dots today. Also, as an adult on your own, do not feel like you can't meet characters. And if it makes you feel nervous, then don't do it. But they're totally cool with it. It's not a weird thing. And if you think about it, anytime that you are wondering, like, should I talk to this character like they are a character? Yes, they can hear you. And also, keep in mind what their life experience is like. One of my biggest ethos about going to a Disney park is whatever you put in, you will get back and then some. So if you go up to a character and just like, hi, can I have a picture? You're just going to get your picture and walk away. If you put in a little bit to make it fun for them as well as you, they will live for that, because otherwise, the day can get quite monotonous. But if people are playing the game with you, then it's not monotonous, and it's funny, and it brightens up their day, so you get a great experience. Melinda, it's a really good question. Is it weird to do character dining on your own? Yes, but I've done it and I loved it anyway. It is a little weird because you're going to be the only one at your table. And one time I did it in California at a breakfast, and the breakfast was empty, so there was like no problem. I did Goofy's Kitchen on my own, and it was not like I was taking the attention of the characters away from children because there was hardly anybody there first thing in the morning. I took the very opening slot because the time change when you go from London to California, I was up and hungry at like 2 a.m. So as soon as they opened, I was like, breakfast, buffet, yes, please, sign me up. So I was all good there. And while I was waiting, while I was waiting like to be given my table, someone was like, is the rest of your party here? And I said, oh, the rest of my party aren't as cool. And they all just stayed for the complimentary croissants in the hotel. But I decided to come have breakfast with Goofy. And everybody just started laughing and gave me a great experience after that because they were like, well, that's rubbish that no one else had any energy to get up and come along. Like, who wants the standard... Who wants the boring set out breakfast when you could have breakfast with characters? And so as soon as I adopted that kind of attitude about it, I had a great time. I love the photos that I have from that breakfast. My photo with Goofy is actually one of my favorite Disney photos ever. It's like a really nice photo. And yeah, I had a great time. Do it. I don't think anybody cares. And also, it's a bit like when you go to a fitness class and you're like, is everyone looking at me? No, they're looking at themselves. Disney is very much the same. 95% of the time, everyone is wrapped in their entire own experience and they're giving you absolutely no attention whatsoever. So do whatever you want and whatever you feel great with, as long as you know you're not mean. I don't think any of you are. I just started that sentence going, do whatever you want. I don't mean be horrible. Not whatever you want, but whatever nice people would want. I needed caveats. I needed so many caveats. You're all good. You're all good. Okay, my gold mist across where the dots are. Okay, I've still kept my open space here. The valley has not closed. Sorry, the light is just changing where the sun has decided to grace us with her presence. So I'm going to journal up here. Now, I think I need to go buy a roll of orange twine. You know, the yellow that I've been using until I'm running out of it. I think I have run out of it now. And I think I want an orange one. So I'm going to see if I can find some in orange. So here we are. Layers today. Oh, I started with the Vicky sticker sheet and then I only put one thing down. I just got distracted. Imagine that. Shimelle got distracted. What? No, never. But is there anything else the right color? Yeah, this gold one. Oh, did I put adhesive? Because no, remember we discovered this sticker sheet it's pretending to be a sticker sheet. It's not a sticker sheet. It's not sticky. Okay. I want this one here. There. Is that enough? I think so. I could, hold on, arrows. Oh no, because I didn't want to bring in bright white, and they're bright white. Okay, I'll step away now. Okay, so this is where I stop, aside from the journaling. Yay! I'm quite happy with how that worked with this sketch. So there's where we started, and that's what we got. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed any of our side quests that took us to music theory and Epcot today, if you liked any of it, if you want to hit the thumbs up button, that does a lot to help me behind the scenes, and it helps you get more videos that you like on your feed and your suggestions, and that's always a good thing. Speaking of which, I always say it helps good things happen for me behind the scenes. I got a new thing behind the scenes this week. I don't know what it is yet. But I got invited to like a new creators roundtable, and so I'm now waiting. I think it starts next month, but it says that there'll be like new learning stuff, and I don't know if you noticed, but I didn't like learning new stuff, so that I'm really excited. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but things like viewer engagement is what makes that stuff happen. So I really appreciate you watching and commenting and thumbs upping, and I hope it is cool because I'm kind of geeky and like learning new things. So I was excited when I got that little memo to say, you're invited to come join this as a creator who's on our radar. Oh, how lovely. Thank you very much. So thanks, guys. Couldn't do without you. Have a great weekend. I will be live, as far as I know, at the normal time on Monday, 1:30 p.m. UK time. And I will put the schedule for all of next week's videos, both YouTube and This Year Story members, on to my Instagram on the stories, and then in that little highlight circle on Sunday. I'm going to try for Sunday lunchtime. All right. See you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.